Hey, my name's Mike. Welcome to the Daily Devo. Today we're going to talk about doing your best and forgetting about the rest. Hey, thanks for tuning in to the Daily Devo. We're spending a couple of weeks here on the Daily Devo and we're talking about something that I think we really all battle with in our lives. We're talking about stress. Not just stress, but we're talking about anxiety, the idea of feeling overwhelmed and dealing with pressure and figuring out healthy ways to deal with all the noise and all the things that are pushing on us in our lives. And I'm really excited about this mini series, and I'm hoping and I'm praying that we all get a little better at this idea of dealing with pressure every single day that we're alive. One of the most famous kings in history is a guy by the name of Solomon. He was king over Israel, and he had a never-ending responsibility. As a king, his job was always to wage war, defend his country, defend his kingdom, and to see his kingdom accelerate. And every night that he would lay his head down as king, he would have to carry the weight of protecting, defending, and building a nation under him. And here's what I love. He actually wrote down for us a little glimpse into how he dealt with all of the pressure of his life. Now, I don't want to hype this, but I think that there's a really powerful truth for you and I to see and to learn how to deal with pressure that we have in our lives from King Solomon. So if your summer electric bills still have you a little worried about how expensive they were, let's listen to the wisdom of Solomon on dealing with pressure. And this is what he says in Proverbs chapter 21, verse 31. The horse is made ready for the day of battle, but victory rests with the Lord. Now, this powerful king, he breaks down how he processes difficult things in his life. He breaks them down into two simple thoughts for us. First, he says this. He talks about the idea of preparation. He said the horse is ready for battle. For Solomon, it was to get all of the things that it took to go to battle and to be ready with those things. For him, it was these horses, the idea of thousands and thousands of horses that had to be cared for and maintained and managed well so that the battle could happen. And he made sure that the thing that he had to manage was laid out, that it was taken care of, and it was ready, as he says. And see, with all the major things in our life, we have a responsibility to manage them well. We should be as prepared as we can be when we're facing something in our lives. And I really believe that this is the first step in working through pressure that we are facing in our lives. Maybe it's financial stress that you're dealing with. I think we have to sit down, we have to have the conversation where somebody says to us, hey, how prepared are you for that next paycheck? How prepared are you for that next bill? How managed is your plan to spend the money that God is bringing into your life, that he's blessing you with? And see, Solomon in his old world language, he would say this. He would say, are your horses ready for battle? Solomon knew in his life, his job was to simply do his best, to take the things that he had and prepare them the best that he could. I think the real power comes in his second statement, because he said this. He said, but victory rests with the Lord. And see, I think we need to say that phrase more often in our lives. Here's what Solomon learned after managing an entire kingdom and all the wealth and all the policies and all the opportunity that came with that. Ultimately, he knew this. He realized that I am not in control of all of the outcomes in my life. He realized that he didn't have control over all of these things. And he had learned to prepare and to do his best. But the second thing he learned is that he had to trust God with the rest. And so maybe you're worried about your kids. Maybe you're worried about some of the decisions they're making. Maybe you're worried about where they're heading in life. And this is what Solomon would say to you. He would say, do your best, but trust God with the rest. Maybe you're anxious. You're worked up about a new project at work. Maybe it's really just wearing on you. Solomon would say this. He would say, do your best, but then be sure that you trust God with the rest. Maybe your marriage is feeling shaky today. Maybe your spouse is cold or they're distant. And it has you laying in bed at night just truly worried and worked up and wondering what in the world is going on. Solomon would say this, do your best, but don't forget to trust God with the rest. Don't forget that victory rests in the hands of Jesus in your life. See, I think this is hard for us because we like control. And I think the truth is the sooner that we surrender control, you realize we never really had it to begin with. The sooner we surrender that control, the feeling of control over to God, the sooner we operate in the wisdom that Solomon reminds us to operate in. And so today, my challenge is real simple to you. Do your best, but trust God with the rest.